Hi, this is Jim Hill of Jim Hill Media, and I'm here with Tom Fitzgerald inside of the spectacular new redo of Star Tours. So let's talk about this. I mean, This was already a hugely popular attraction,
Yes.
and but again, a hugely popular attraction from the early '80s. And now, did you take sort of the surgeon's approach first, do no harm? I mean, what was going into this? What did you try to do?
Well, from when we did the original show, we always said the beauty of the motion-based technology was that you could update it over time. And obviously, the original show was popular, but when George started to make the new trilogies, Episode 1, that's when the phone started ringing, both from Lucasfilm saying, so when are you going to update Star Tours? Because now we have new worlds, we have new adventures, and we actually did a show based on the pod race from Episode 1. But, then we all sort of said, well, what's going to be in Episode 2? And that was all secret until it was revealed when it came out. And then, of course, we said, what's going to be in Episode 3? So really the toughest part in one way was to be patient, wait for George to complete all 6 films, and then step back and say, what should we do? What do you have to refresh it?
But that said, when did the branching idea enter the situation? Was it literally you're sitting there in front of the buffet and how can we choose one? So we choose them all?
Well, in a way it was. I mean, the pod race was a single story. And then once we got all of the films done, it really was kind of hard to say, well, what do you pick? And part of the challenge I thought was, no matter how good a single episode will be, the way our guests use our parks and visit so frequently, they might say, well, I'm finished with it. I've done it. I love it, but I've done it a million times. So it's like, well, especially now with the visitation patterns, especially with our pass holders and people who really love it, come so often, it's like, how can we make it surprising? And that's where the idea came of saying, well, why does it have to be one episode? With digital technology, you could do multiple episodes. And that's where the branching idea came from, a way to keep it fresh for the audience so that every time you ride, it's surprising.
But at the same time, I mean, you're talking about, I was talking with somebody about, in order to ride every iteration of this thing, it's a 6-hour time commitment. And in fact, I was joking with somebody like, you guys should merchandise the Star Tours bingo card so you can finally say that, I've done them all.
I've done them all. Well, we talked about doing a passport, that you could get stamped every time and you said, I've done them.
You should.
Because I haven't done them all.
Okay. But at the same time, they're so ridiculously hyper detailed. I mean, even when you're seeing a sequence you've seen previously, there's something going on in the corner or a bit of business in the background. I mean, so you're talking about ridiculous storyboarding on this thing.
Well, when we met with ILM and we're doing the ride sequences, we said, unlike a regular movie, because people come back to see this so often, you almost can't put enough in the scene. Our guests love to discover things that they didn't see on the last ride. Oh, I never saw that droid over there doing this. Oh, I never saw that. So we really prompted them to say, go for it. Put all sorts of business in all different parts of the scenes. And they did. Even when I see it, when we were doing mixing and things, you'd freeze on a frame and go, oh, I never saw that down there. And I think that's a hallmark of our greatest attractions. When you go through Pirates or Mansion and you say, oh, I never saw that before. That's part of, our DNA.
But at the same time, what I love is that you have these great little nods to the original attraction, and be it, in Coruscant, where, you're hitting the landing platform just off to the side of the fuel truck, sort of echoing, the original end gag of the attraction. I mean, are there any particular touches you're proud yourself that made it in? Or?
Well, there's so many, and again, we did that for the fans to say our guests love to discover, hidden Mickeys, and so in this one we said, well, we'll do a hidden Mickey, let's do hidden Star Wars, let's do hidden Star Tours, and let's do hidden Disneyland and Disney theme parks. So throughout the attraction, there are all sorts of nods. Probably the most iconic one in here would be that the Mighty Microscope has returned. And ILM was great with that. We said, in the original Star Tours, we put the Mighty Microscope in the attraction, and we wanted to do it again. And they said, okay, great, let's do it.
All right.
So it's in there.
Well, again, it is such an amazing update, and more to the point, again, I just love the fact that you preserved what was fun about the first one and just amped it up that much more for this new version.
Well, having worked on the original one, and then getting a chance to work on this, one of the things I've learned over the years is you really have to protect the DNA of the attractions that people love. So in this one was like, okay, and as you come into the attraction, it was very thoughtful in terms of saying, let's make the first room feel, oh, good, it's still all there. Oh, but it's fresh. Oh, that's good. And then as you get deeper in Droid, oh, wow, this has really changed. And then when you get to the load corner, wow, this has really changed. And then, of course, the ride itself to sort of say, wow, 54 combinations and 3PO up in front. So the idea was to, let it expand as you get deeper and deeper into the attraction, but really be respectful of what people have come to know and love. And one of the things that was interesting for me in writing the little blog pieces was seeing how much of a reaction from the fans there were to Rex. And because of that, we said, you know what? We were planning to sort of hide him in there. We said, no, we have to do a bigger cameo for Rex. So we're going to use his dialogue. And so we sort of built up that scene of Rex arriving at Star Tours, but he's not ready for flying. He's a little defective and has to go back for programming. And then again, that came out of the guests wanting, making sure the guests have what they love.
Well, you've done it. You've delivered the goods. It's an amazing revisited of a wonderful attraction.
So thanks. The team did a great job, and glad you enjoyed it.
All right. Okay. This is Jim Hill from Jim Hill Media, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Glad you loved it.
No.